Colin, nice to see you again. We're back for another episode of Ball State of the Union. We got a lot to talk about, and we're going to be ranking the definitive rankings for all of Ball State football's helmets in their history. And whatever we pick as the number one helmet, and you as the fans vote on, is going to be the answer. So let's get right into it. Play the music.
We're talking Ball State. Don Shondell and Ray McCallum talking Ball State. Nate Davis and Bonzi Wells. Schumann, Bell Tower, and Worthen. Fans Oliver from Muncie to Berlin. Getting Concanons. Carters and Greeks.
All right. It is Thursday, January 9th, 2025. Colin, it's good to be back. If you can hear my voice, anyone out there in the Ball State universe can hear my voice, I got a couple things for you to do. One, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. And on all the videos that come out, leave a like, leave some comments. It helps kind of push the video out to more people. And on Spotify, if you're a Spotify listener, go ahead and make sure you follow the page and leave the show a 5-star review. All the 5-star reviews help, again, push it out to more people. Colin, are you subscribed to the YouTube channel?
I am. I'm subscribed. Just on YouTube, not on Spotify yet, but I'm actually not on Spotify, but I might have to make one just to be subscribed to Ball State of the Union.
Yeah, I got you. And if you do, remember, 5-star review. That's what we're looking for. Last episode, Andy Thorpe, Ball State recruiting expert, I would say. I thought it was a great, informative interview. He kind of went over a lot of things. Colin, what were your kind of main takeaways from what Andy had to tell us, or things that maybe got you excited for these guys that we got coming in through the 2025 signing class and the transfer portal?
Yeah, definitely. It's looking like it's going to be a completely new team, pretty much minus Kyle Kelly, Keon Magwood, and maybe a few other notable pieces. But for the most part, it's looking like a complete reset. I'm excited to see the running back room. Quay Ashley, that's a player I'm excited for. With the loss of D.D. Snyder, I'm kind of excited for the incoming replacement of him. I think we'll talk about it a little later. But there's a couple pieces I'm excited for, but it'll really take me a couple games to see who's popping out, who's showing me flashes. Right now, it's really, it could be anyone could really start at the running back, in the running back room, I think. Quay Ashley definitely has the leg up right now, but I'm just excited to see who surprises us, because I don't know too many just yet that I think are for sure starters, but I'm excited for what I've seen, and it looks like Coach U's hitting the ground hard, recruiting pretty fast, pretty fierce. So hopefully we get the pieces to make this a successful season.
Yeah, and spring ball is going to be coming up soon. That'll kind of give us a little bit better picture of what we really got. But obviously, we won't really truly know until they hit the field in West Lafayette against Purdue in the fall. But
What about you, John?
Yeah, I'm with you. It's just kind of like every year, for better or worse, with the state of college football how it is right now, you're pretty much going to have a new team every year if you're a school like Ball State. And so, yeah, you just kind of have to put your faith in the people in charge, that they're going out and getting the best people available. They're smart football minds. They can find these guys. And so hopefully, Coach Uramovich and the staff are doing that. So I'm kind of with you. It's hard to really know truly what we really got. But, time will tell. We'll find out at some point. And so hopefully we got some dogs, we got some ballers coming in, and we can win some games and go bowling next year. I think that's kind of the hope of everybody.
Yep.
But let's do a little detour here. Let's get into some basketball. I'm going to start with men's basketball. Let me pull this up here real quick.
Looks like there's some highs and some lows.
Recently. Highs and lows, man. Highs and lows. That's kind of the story of this team. So big win, actually, over the weekend at Kent State. Kent State's always a pretty good team in the MAC. I think we were an 11-point underdog going into this game and actually ended up winning by 8 outright. Maybe they were a little lucky at points in the game. They were kind of getting the bounces that Kent State wasn't getting. But, it was a huge win. We haven't had tons of big wins in Ball State basketball the last, really for a long time now, actually. So it was a big win. It was a really big win. You're hoping, hey, they start off MAC play on the road against one of the best teams in the MAC, get a big win. You're coming home against another good team in Miami of Ohio. You think, okay, we got this thing rolling kind of in the right direction. Well, unfortunately, the kind of Jekyll and Hyde team that is the Ball State men's basketball team right now fall at home 80-72 to Miami of Ohio on Tuesday night. Again, this is a good Miami of Ohio team. I'm not taking anything away from them, but you would hope that we could kind of build on that. But it's kind of one step forward, one step back. It seems like with this team. So at the end of the day, though, all that really matters in MAC basketball is the MAC tournament, because it's really only ever going to be a one team or one bid league. So really your only path to the NCAA tournament is winning the MAC tournament. So your first goal is to make the MAC tournament. So, they're still obviously very much alive for all that. So next game at home, Worthen Arena, 2 p.m. on Saturday against Bowling Green. So, hopefully they can get a win and, string a couple together here in the MAC. They had won 4 in a row before this game on Tuesday. So, we'll see how this ends up going. But
Jan, who's been our most consistent player this year so far?
Fat Hill is probably the player that stands out the most, just kind of with his scoring and obviously his big dunk. And he kind of reminds me of like a Vince Carter. He can score and he gets those big flashy dunks. Peyton Sparks is kind of coming into his mold, his form again. He was a MAC freshman of the year for Ball State a few years ago, transfers to Indiana, doesn't really play much at all, comes back and, kind of got off to a little bit of a slow start, but now he's consistently being a double-digit rebounder. And so those are kind of like the 2 guys that have really stood out to me so far. But, they can get contributions from a lot of guys. So women's basketball. We'll do a little women's basketball here.
This team is better than the men's team, correct?
For sure. 10-4 right now, I believe, is what their record is. And they're playing right now, actually. They're playing Eastern Michigan as we speak right now. Let me see if we got an update on them for you real quick. As we speak, as we're recording this, they're smoking Eastern Michigan 76-45 going into the fourth quarter. So I think we can kind of go ahead and chalk that one up as a win. They started off MAC play here 2-0 so far. Beat Miami of Ohio 68-55 at Worthen Arena, or at Miami of Ohio, excuse me, and then at Worthen Arena they beat Central Michigan 72-61. Again, we just said they're beating Eastern Michigan pretty handily right now, and they got a big game against Buffalo at Buffalo this Saturday at 2 p.m. Buffalo's another good team in the MAC. And so again, I don't follow women's basketball quite as closely as I do men's basketball, but I do know they've had some big wins this year. They play some good teams. They're 10-4. I think their losses are to North Carolina, Ohio State. Like they've lost some. Their losses are to some pretty good teams. So they're going to be right in the thick of it to win the MAC the whole year. So kudos to the ladies. Hopefully the men's team can kind of get to the same spot where they're at. But let's talk about another pretty good team on campus here. I don't know if you ever really watched them or what you did in your time at school at Ball State, but we got a really good men's volleyball team. I'm an alumni of that team, not to brag, but they come into the season ranked number 5 in the country. They're favorite to win the MIVA. So if people are not familiar with men's volleyball, they don't play in the MAC. There's not a MAC for men's volleyball. There's only so many teams that in the country that have a men's volleyball team, and so they have different conferences. And so the MIVA is what Ball State men's volleyball is in. They're probably the second best conference in the country behind the one out on the West Coast. Ball State, Ohio State, Loyola Chicago, Lewis University up in Chicago. These are always like premier teams that are always, fighting to make the Final Four. And so Ball State's the favorite in this conference right now. They kicked off the season this last week with 2 pretty easy matches, kind of tune-up games. Sweeps, easy sweeps. They're doubling teams up in points. 25-12, 25-13 type scores against Wabash and Shrine. Outside hitter Patrick Rogers was the MIVA Offensive Player of the Week. But competition is going to really ramp up here in the next week and a half. They're heading out west this weekend. Friday and Saturday they're going to play at number 13 Stanford for 2 matches, and then they're going to play BYU afterwards, who's always one of the best teams in the country. So expect big things from Ball State men's volleyball. If you've never watched men's volleyball, it's amazing to watch. It's like the super fast pace. Did you ever watch any men's volleyball when you're on campus?
Yeah, fun fact for the people for Ball State football talk. Ball State football talk. I used to go to the men's volleyball games. I've actually sat in the bleachers and watched the games because in 2014 I used to live at Stew West, right on the edge of campus, and
Mhm.
I just a hop, skip, and a jump. Right off campus was 1000 New York. It's like this little duplex, and it's got a finished basement too. And all the homies used to live there. And I had a buddy with the nickname of Suds, and he could take down a 24 pack like nobody's business. But he was on the volleyball team, so shout out men's volleyball. I know you guys got a legend of a coach, or you used to, and they went crazy, man. I've been to the men's volleyball house a couple times, so going out there
Buddy,
and partying. So
buddy.
shout out to the volleyball team.
Suds was my roommate in college as well. One of my
No
roommates.
way, no way. Okay,
So
nice,
in 2013, he lived with us. It was me. There was 3 men's volleyball players and then a friend of mine from high school. But yeah, Suds a legendary partier at Ball State. Matt Sutherland is his name.
legendary,
So
bro,
Suds, if you're
legendary.
listening to this, we love you. Shout out Suds. But yeah, did not think that's where this conversation was going to go. But yeah, so Matt
There we go.
Sutherland, a legend. So hey, let's go to your forte here a little bit. Let's get back to football. We got a couple big news of people coming in and a couple people going out. Where do you want to start? Coming in or going out?
Let's go with going out. Let's start with
G-
going out.
Going out. Okay. So we have two names now that we know of people who were on the team last year who know where we're going now. First off, Caden Samanza has a home. Mac freshman of the year, Caden Samanza. Quarterback is going to Tulane. We had heard it had been a while, kind of a little bit longer than most of us had thought it was going to be before he signed somewhere. Being a quarterback that is winning postseason awards, especially a young guy. So if eventually finds his home at Tulane, it seems like they have kind of a crowded quarterback room as well. What have you heard about Caden Samanza going to Tulane, and what are just kind of your overall thoughts on him and his time at Ball State?
Yeah, so I want to start off with Tulane. I'm glad he ended up at Tulane, because at first what I was hearing just through the grapevine and the rumor mill was that he was looking at a bunch of Mountain West teams, that he had been offered a bunch of Mountain West teams other than Boise State. So, I was a little bit concerned about that. I didn't know if that's really where I wanted to see him, but I think Tulane, even being in the American, and I think the American, once 2026 happens and Boise State leaves the Mountain West to go to Pac-12, I think the American will be stronger than the Mountain West at that point, particularly with Army, Navy. You've got Tulane that's on and off ranked. Memphis is good for a good season every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he went to maybe the best Group of Five conference, not now, but in 2026 for in the future. And he's going to get a great coach in John Summerall, I believe is his name.
Mm-hmm.
And from what the Tulane fans were telling me, it seems like that guy's a straight shooter and probably told him, if you come here, you can earn your spot. Because I think there's 3 quarterbacks right now that have signed there, but I think one is coming back that was the backup, and his plan is to be like a tight end or maybe a Taysom Hill kind of role. So I genuinely believe, you send Caden Samanza over to possibly an offensive wizard there. I think they're going to do some magic, and I'm pretty confident that's a good mix. That's a good fit. I like the coach. I like the quarterback. Uh, Tulane is good for like a 23, 21 rankings. They're always kind of creeping around there.
Mm-hmm.
He went to a good program. I like the move a lot. I love what Caden Samanza did for us at Ball State. And I can't hate on it. I'm just really happy for him, and I'm glad to see the fit.
Yeah. So, well, obviously time will tell, how this all works if he goes there and, has a chance to play, if he's, going to I would think him theoretically leaving Ball State to go sit behind someone at Tulane. I assume he has a really strong feeling that he's going to be playing next year. Otherwise, I don't really know why you would do that. Obviously, the money is probably a factor, but playing and get to play is probably just as big, if not even a bigger factor. So I would think he has to think he's going to play right away. So best of luck to you, Caden. We'll be watching from afar.
I
All
think
right,
with both of the players that we're going to talk about leaving, John, I
Mhm.
think money was a significant factor for both of them.
Mhm.
Just these schools have deeper pockets than us, and even the schools you wouldn't think of are more spendy. They're more willing to shell out for a player. And Tulane is definitely more spendy than Ball State. So,
Mhm.
we'll see this, more often. We're seeing teams like Wisconsin take our players, Illinois, Kansas, Tulane, and then even I believe Miles Norwood went somewhere in the SEC. Was it South
South
Carolina?
Carolina, yeah.
Yeah, so these teams are just going to come through and spend money on players that we don't have enough money to keep everyone.
Mhm. All right. I know you don't wanna do this, but I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, this
Staying
one
in the
hurt.
MAC, Dee Snyder. Go ahead. This is your guy.
Yeah, yeah. I love Dee Snyder, and when it comes to me watching the defense last year, particularly in the secondary, there wasn't a lot to love, right? There was Miles Norwood, who obviously played his butt off to be able to be in the SEC now, and then Dee Snyder as well, who I know wanted to come back, but it was just what can we offer compared to these other schools that are contacting Dee Snyder? Because trust me, it wasn't just one other MAC school. It wasn't just UMass contacting him. I know for a fact there was more than just UMass contacting him, but it's, can we compete with what they're willing to spend? And as I've recently learned, UMass has more money than any other school in the MAC now. So they're going to be a threat to pillage our players. And unfortunately, Dee Snyder was one of the best players that it was possible to return on defense that wasn't already a senior or like a graduate player that wasn't really going to come back. So this hurts because, I there wasn't a lot of bright spots last year on the defense. Keontae Newsome for sure held it down. There was a couple players on the line, Tolsma, Brandon Berger, but Dee Snyder is a playmaker. I believe he had a couple picks, forced fumble, a fumble recovery, a couple pass breakups, a couple tackles for loss, 60 tackles. I mean, I can't speak enough about the type of player he was, and just his impact. It seemed like oozed onto the other players as well. Like, because he would fly around and make plays, and it helps the other people, and especially your corners when you have a safety that can hit, that can tackle, that can make, interceptions. So it's going to be tough to replace him, but I'm happy for him. He's definitely a junkyard dog. UMass, I hope they take care of him, but he found a good spot, and he's a great player.
Yeah. And so, Dee, we know you watch the show sometimes and keep up what's going on. So we want to wish you the best of luck until we play you guys, and we're coming for your ass.
Definitely,
Just know that. But no.
definitely.
All right, let's get to a couple guys that we got coming in or coming back, should I say. First one, Keon Magwood announced that he's coming back. We've lost, some significant talent in the wide receiver room. And so, getting someone back who contributed, some last year in Keon Magwood is, I think, always a good thing. He's familiar with the coach. He's familiar with everything. He can kind of help these new guys coming in. That can kind of get them up to speed a little bit faster. So I think it's a good thing we have him coming back. With losing Cam Pickett and losing Justin Bowick, uh, I think it's always a good thing. What do you got on Keon Magwood? What do you think about him coming back?
And losing Ty Robinson, right?
Ty
I mean,
Robinson, yeah.
our number one wide receiver for the last 2 years. I know he got injured. He had some injury problems, but he was, when he was in there, he was a dog. He was reliable. It's just the injury factor. I love Keon Magwood. He's a big playmaker. Um, my what this really makes me think of is with everyone we lost and finally getting Magwood back. I like that for the chemistry with Kyle Kelly, but it
Mhm.
also makes me think about Shaq Van, our wide receiver coach, who impressed us last year when there was players going down and the next man up, and then he had them ready. So we're gonna have to see that again because the only returner on wide receiver is Keon Magwood, who really, honestly, I think is a great like number 2 or number 3 receiver. So we
Mhm.
might have to find like a complement to him. Um, so I'm just excited to see like who takes that spot there? Who's going to step up and be that number one wide receiver? And complement Keon Magwood's game.
Yeah. So hey, Keon, glad to see you back in Muncie. We hopefully get some big things from you this year. Before I go to the next guy, though, I want to talk about wide receivers still, and you're much more keyed in on everything than I am. And maybe I missed it. Has Malcolm Gilly announced where he's going? I know he got his extra eligibility with the new ruling with the JUCO stuff. Has he announced where he's going yet? I haven't seen that he's coming back to Ball State, but I also haven't seen that he's gone anywhere yet.
I haven't seen anything announced either, and I think he is the last guy out there really, and forgive me if I'm missing someone, but the last guy that we're really waiting on to see where's he going. He's a huge part of our team last year. It would be
Mhm.
amazing to get him back, but I don't think he has announced anything yet.
Okay, yeah, I hadn't seen anything, and especially following Andy Thorpe again, who we interviewed last week. If you haven't heard that episode yet, definitely go back and check it out. It's a great episode. He is very detailed on everything, Ball State recruiting. But I haven't seen anything from him. That's usually kind of, as I call him, the Adam Schefter of Ball State. So that's usually my go-to spot. So I haven't seen anything from him. So I assume we haven't heard anything. Now,
Definitely,
something.
I
Go
did
ahead.
just check his Twitter real quick,
Hmm.
and there isn't anything reported on there. But I do just want to make a quick point about Malcolm Gilly. My favorite thing about Malcolm Gilly is not only is he a great special teams player, special teams
Hmm.
returner, super fast, but you also get a little bit of a threat here and there on the receiver end.
Hmm.
He had 28 catches for 348 yards and 2 TDs. So, I mean, he's also a little bit of a weapon on offense as well. So, I would just say, Malcolm Gilly, if you're listening, we love you. Please come back.
You heard it. You heard it here first. All right, but talking about seeing stuff on Twitter, we're we're on a little bit of heater with these former 4-star recruits. We got another one coming in here, seemingly to a safety from Kentucky, 4-star recruit, none other than Avery Stewart, announced recently that he is committed to Ball State. He's transferred in from Kentucky. We saw another 4-star recruit at the quarterback position from Colorado. We talked about with Andy. He's coming in as well. This second 4-star recruit that they've got jumping in here. You got anything on Avery Stewart?
Yeah, we're really gonna need him. It looks like he'll probably be replacing D.D. Snyder, who we just showed a lot of love to. Um, I did just end up checking him out. I know he was at Kentucky. He's got 3 years of eligibility. He looks like a long safety. He's
Yeah, it's like
6'2",
6'2", 180.
one ninety.
Yeah, so a bigger guy.
Good size. I mean, 6'2" for someone in, the secondary at the MAC level.
Yeah.
That's definitely we'll take that. That's a good sign. Um, I haven't seen like any highlights. I don't think he really got a lot of playing time at Kentucky. That might be why he headed here.
Hmm.
But I'm excited for him. He's got big shoes to fill here, the safety position last year, as well as that like sniper role that we had George Udo in. Really, it was one of our strengths. So I'm hoping he can continue that because we will need it.
It's official now. Northern Illinois is tucking their tail and running to the Mountain West in football only in 2026. Now, I have a handful of thoughts on this. Number one, I don't know that the grass is always greener. With how volatile college football is nowadays, it might seem like an awesome idea right now. Oh, we can go make a little bit. We can go make some more money with our TV deal or whatever right now. But the Mac TV deal has to be up at some point soon, and they're going to re-up that. So at what point is that number? What's that going to look like in a couple years when that comes up? So the grass isn't always greener, and I find it funny that after all the years when I was in school of Northern Illinois owning us and this, that, and the other, and kind of spoiling good years that could have been great years because we couldn't get over the hump with them, that we finally start owning their ass, and they just so happen to run and hide. So, best of luck to you, Northern Illinois. I saw that your president or whoever during their press conference yesterday was talking like, oh, you know, even though we're just going for football only to the Mountain West, that doesn't necessarily mean that our other sports won't stay in the MAC. That's exactly what that means. You guys are all out. Go find another place to play. You guys aren't any good at any other sports really besides football anyways, and you're not even that amazing at football. You get some good, you know, you get I can't take away the fact that you get some nice wins, but it's not like you're winning the conference every year. Uh, you know, good riddance to you. And guess what? You don't play us next year in 2025. So that means the bronze stock is staying in Muncie theoretically forever at this point. So at the end of the day, I think we ended up with the same exact number of wins and losses and ties. So it basically was a flat, Northern Illinois and
25, 25, and 2.
right. So then at the end of the day, what comes down to the tiebreaker for this rivalry? It's who has the trophy. So we have the trophy. The bronze stock rivalry winners are the Ball State Cardinals. Kiss my ass. What do
So
you
I
got
do
on?
want to.
What do
I
you
do
got
have
on
a little
Northern
bit.
Illinois?
I got a little bit, and not to push back too much, but I did hear a stat that in the last 15 years, NIU is in the top 30 of wins in all of FBS, which was a pretty surprising stat.
Well,
I
then
know they had their
you would think by that measure and by the way their fans talk that they win the MAC every single year.
right. You would think.
You would
You
think
would
that,
think.
right? Yeah.
What I'm most concerned about is the Mountain West did reach out to Toledo as well.
Mhm.
And I think the MAC will actually survive this and be okay for the fact that we added UMass already.
Mhm.
So we're losing the Chicago market, but we're adding like right outside the Boston market, which I think is like number 8 in the
Yeah.
television markets. But so I think they'll be fine. But what this is really for the Mountain West is for their rights are coming up for their own bidding. The MAC will get a new contract in 2027. The
Okay.
Mountain West has one that's coming up fairly soon. So what they're doing is trying to angle themselves where they'll have another time zone slot, so
Mhm.
that'll help them also, oh, we're in the Chicago market as well. But we've seen this actually before when NIU did go independent from the MAC, I believe in like the 80s, it might have been 85 or something. And then shortly thereafter joined, I think it was like the Big West or something like that. But it actually had San Jose State in it and a couple of these other teams that are actually going to be in the Mountain West in 2026. And it didn't work out then. So I'm wondering actually, will it end up being a mistake? Um, I don't know because I think the Mountain West actually is set fairly well in the future and could potentially have a merger with the Pac-12.
No way.
Possibly, I don't know. That would be something. But as it is, I'm not certain that the Mountain West in 2026, once Boise State leaves,
Mhm.
that the Mountain West will be that much better than the MAC if Toledo isn't gone. Because at that point, your biggest names are UNLV, Air Force, Hawaii, NIU, Wyoming. It just feels kind of random. New Mexico, UTEP, Nevada.
Mhm.
That's not really. It's almost feeling like Conference USA to me rather than the Mountain West of old. And Boise State for like the last 30 years has been one of the most impressive and consistent programs in
For
all of
sure.
FBS. And to lose them, I'm not so sure the Mountain West was really well rounded, more so top heavy in like an
Mhm.
ACC sort of way. So I'm not sure that they are necessarily better when they lose, um, when they lose a Boise State and uh, a Colorado State, San Diego State, Utah State, Fresno State. I think all these teams going to the Pac-12. Um, I'm not sure how that really works out for them, and I'm intrigued to see. But I think the MAC will actually be okay as long as we don't lose another team.
Yeah, and I think, you know, I'm not a Northern Illinois fan at all, but just to kind of somewhat from their perspective, obviously they're going to make more money from the get go, right? Right. In the long term, who knows how that's going to really play out? But they kind of are like a team kind of off by themselves. Every team for the most part in the original MAC has been in Ohio and Michigan, and then obviously Ball State sorry, smacking the mic here. And Ball State is, obviously in the eastern part of Indiana, so pretty close to Ohio anyways. Northern Illinois is kind of on an island over there by themselves. So, they're kind of, logistically, we're kind of always by themselves anyways. Ball State or Western Michigan, probably the closest team to them geographically. So, obviously you talked about earlier, they left the MAC before, came back, are leaving again now. So it's like, I don't necessarily see Toledo leaving, especially at them being at 12, us being at 12 teams now. They've been, in the MAC forever. They got, these teams kind of like pod up together a lot of times when they're doing this conference realignment. You saw like UCLA and USC are like, okay, well, whatever we do, we're doing together. And, Oregon and Washington and these teams like this. So like, I think Toledo and kind of like Bowling Green are like both right next to each other. So I don't know if they're kind of like, hey, we're going to do stuff together. Obviously Bowling Green, historically has been a fairly good MAC team as well. But at the end of the day, Toledo's gone. They haven't announced, or not, excuse me, Northern Illinois is gone. But yeah, they haven't, announced a home yet for all their other sports. And I think that's going to be a drop off, regardless of where they end up. If they leave the MAC and those, it's going to be a drop off from the competition that they're going to have in the MAC in terms of men's basketball, women's basketball, baseball, those types of things. So interesting to see how it all plays out. But again, at the end of the day, the Brown Stalkers are ours forever. Kiss my ass.
It is. I do think if Toledo did leave, they would go to the American and the American only. But I believe the American is pretty much done adding. And Mountain West, look for them to add somewhere in Texas, whether it be a Texas State. I think they might have reached out to Texas State about that, but I think Texas State wants to go Pac-12. So, there's a lot going on there. And I'm just glad this is all that's affecting the MAC. We are the most stable conference in all FBS football. So it was unfortunate to even lose NIU at that. But I love how stable the commissioners already made this. We're adding a team to backfill already, so we'll stay at a consistent 12. And I'm super excited to see UMass in the MAC again and a new team to kind of watch. And I think they're going to be a lot better. Just the amount of money that they have to put into their program, I think is, like an upper MAC level. And so I think they're going to be able to pay for talent. And I think they're going to be a lot better than they have in the last couple of years.
Yeah, we'll see. It'll be interesting. So we're going to take a short break here. And then we're going to come back with you guys with the definitive. Actually, do you have anything else, Colin?
No, that was great. That was perfect.
So we're going to take a short break here, and we're going to come back with the definitive. These are the only rankings that matter. The definitive rankings for Ball State football helmets throughout their entire program history. We're going to show you all of them, which ones are the best, in just a second. All right, Colin. We did something somewhat similar to this recently with the Ball State of the Union draft, which again, it's hard. It was been a while now, so it's hard to remember who won. We're not going to bring that up, but we're going to do something else for the fans out there. We're going to give you something that has never been done before in the history of Ball State football. We're going to give you the Ball State football helmet rankings. So here's how this is going to work. We're going to go on Tier Maker, and I put all the helmets in there that I could find. I scoured the internet for days and days and days. And me and you are going to rank them through all the different tiers. And I think what would be fun is if we can finish in the S tier. So S tier is the top tier with 4 different helmets. What we think are the 4 best helmets. And then we're going to put it out to the fans. And we're going to let you guys vote and pick which one you think is the definitive best one. And I'm also going to share the tier maker. So anyone out there who wants to play along and do this themselves can do it themselves. Send it our way. Let us see what you got. So without further ado, let's get into it. Here we are. Tier maker. You see me on here. You see the tier maker. You see S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, and D tier. So the goal is we're going to rank them wherever we want. All right, Colin, can you see my screen?
Yep, I sure can.
All right. You see my cursor down here? I'm on this one. We have from, I believe it was 1962 to 1967. So it's an old one, but it's in color. A red helmet We got the numbers. We got the star in between them. Gray face mask. I'm a sucker for a red helmet. Obviously, it doesn't look that amazing. I'm thinking maybe a C tier. What do you got here on this one?
Yeah, I'll go C tier.
C
I'll go
tier.
C
Boom.
tier.
There we go. All
That's
right.
not bad.
Next one. Yeah. That would be a fun one. If we had a red helmet again to do a fun throwback day, it would be easy. Obviously, it's just two numbers and a star in the middle of it. But if we ever had a red one again to do a nice, cool throwback, that would be fun. All right. We got just a block B on there, which I assume is on a red helmet. Couldn't find any colored pictures of this. What do you got? What do you got on the block B on a red helmet?
B tier. That's it's looking mid to me.
You got B tier, okay.
Or D tier. D as in dog.
Oh, D tier. Sorry. Okay, yeah. I was a little
Yeah.
shocked there.
No,
All right.
I'm not feeling that one.
Not feeling that one. And these are older ones, so we'll kind of get to the older ones here pretty quick. So this one, it's kind of hard to tell, but it's a red helmet, double white stripe, and kind of like a, a silhouette of a cardinal helmet on there. Again, I think this would be a fun one to do if we ever got red helmets again. I like this one better than the first one. I'm throwing it, and I'm thinking this is a B tier, especially if we could see it in the modern day. What do you got on that one?
Agreed. I like how that looks.
B tier. Okay, we're B tier now. Okay, we got about one more old school one. And this one was, let's see here. This was the helmet for quite a while. This was the helmet from 1971 to 1984. It looks like the old St. Louis and Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah.
It's basically the same exact one. I always thought, again, this would be a cool one to do. It has a gray face mask. I know they used a black one as well. So we have white helmets and black face masks right now. So this would be a very easy one to redo. I don't know necessarily, legally who
Right.
owns this. We probably weren't supposed to be using it in the first place, but I like this. I think I would put it. I think I'd put it in the A tier.
I think so too. I usually kind of hate sometimes people will send me something Ball State related and then it has the wrong Cardinal on it. That kind of
Mhm.
bothers me, but if we did like a throwback with that helmet, um, Kevin Messenger, I hope you're watching. Throw that on there. I like
So
that. I like that. We'll put that in A.
okay, yeah, I like it too. Again, and this that would be a very easy theoretically. Again, legally, I don't know who has the rights to that, but I think it'd be easy one to do. It'd be a fun one to do. All right, we're gonna move this one. Can I move it over? Okay, I'm gonna try and go in order. So here's the one. This one right here is the one, obviously the main one. 1990 to 2014, the main helmet that all of us kind of grew up for the most part with. It's got the traditional cardinal head, and it has those like kind of three. I always call them. Excuse me. I always call them the speed stripes. On the top of Charlie's head, he has them on there. I like that one significantly. But if you were to put those two, the traditional cardinal head with like the three lines, and then the one that they use now, I like that one way better. I'll kind of toss this one to you. This is the traditional look for Ball State football. Where are you kind of feeling about the traditional everyday helmet that we used for a long time?
To me, it never really was flashy. It never really. It's not going to draw in somebody that's not really already a fan. It looks
Hmm.
kind of standard, kind of typical. For me, I would go with the regular B.
Regular B. Okay. Yeah, I could see that. I could see it. You know, if I really wanted to, I could probably make a case for it to be higher, just because it was the only helmet we used for so long, and it was we beat Indiana a bunch of times with it. We beat South Florida, we beat Virginia. Like, this is the helmet we wore when we did all those cool things. But again, there's some better ones here in the last few years now that are going to probably top it. But same helmet now, but the black version basically. I think it looks.
Yeah,
I think it looks pretty sweet. What about you?
I do too. I'm gonna put that in A because
Eh,
I'm not when we're ranking these, John.
mhm.
I'm thinking of like what's got the juice, not really what had the best moments. I'm thinking like what when our players go out there and they got this on, like they're thinking like they look drippy. You know what I mean? So I
Yep.
want them to look fly. You play good, you look good, you feel good, you play good. So if we're just talking just on that parameters, I'm putting the all black helmet. with that logo at A.
A tier. Okay. Yep. I'd agree with you. I think that's the closest one to S so far, in my opinion.
Agreed.
All right. Now we're going Anthony Winbush. You remember Anthony Winbush? Bunch of sacks. He's rocking this one here. I'm trying to find the exact date. This is from 2015. So a little inside information. 2014, our longtime equipment manager, Tex Ritter, retired. And so forever, he only had the one helmet. And then his last year, they added a black one. 2015 comes along, we get a new equipment manager in, and this is kind of when you see the trend of all these new helmets coming in. And this was I believe, the first one. It's a traditional cardinal head. Again, those speed stripes are now gone, and it's kind of hard to tell in this picture. And I'll put up bigger photos in the post editing when I'm doing it. But this one has like a camo cardinal head on. It's when we played VMI, Virginia Military Institute, in the first, like the opener of 2015 season. So this is like the most creative one that we've had at this point. I don't know that it looks as amazing as it could. I think maybe if the uniforms were kind of overall changed a little bit with it, I think it was a great idea, and we'll see some different kind of iterations of this later on the list, but it's not as good as I was hoping. I was thinking about throwing it in the B tier.
Agreed.
You
Agreed.
thinking B tier? Okay.
Yeah, it's not really speaking to me. It doesn't look crazy or anything. It could have
No,
been
but
better.
yeah, but I'll give it props on the creativity. It's the first time really in the history of Ball State football that they really stepped outside of the box in terms of doing something with these helmets. All right, B tier for that one. Next one we have up. Where is it at? I lost it here. All right. This is the first one I think of modern helmets that I really don't like. Traditional this looks like a regular old Ball State helmet, traditional cardinal, black face mask, but it's got a red stripe down the middle of it. I don't care for the red stripe on this one. What about you?
Yeah, I'll probably go D tier on that. It's not looking great.
Now I will say the man wearing it, Nick Traub, long snapper, I do like him a lot. But the helmet, sorry, Nick, I think I got to agree. I think it's got to be D. I think this was a miss. I think the stripe in this scenario, I didn't love it. Okay, next one, 2015, the helmet we wore at Texas A&M. Same one earlier that we have in the A tier, but this one again doesn't have the 3 lines on it. And I got to tell you, I like the one with the 3 lines better. What about you?
Agreed.
I think, I don't know. Where are you thinking rankings wise for this one?
Maybe C.
That's kind of where I'm at too. Let's go C. Okay. Now this one, again, this is in 2015. So all these are from 2015. They're doing a lot of different stuff at this time. This is like a breast cancer awareness one. It's hard to tell in the picture. Again, I'll put up a bigger one, but this is a pink Charlie Cardinal or a pink Cardinal logo, pink stripe down the middle. Again, I don't really love it with the uniform. I think for the creativity and what they're trying to do at the time, I think I would put it somewhere along the B category just because it's something different, but I don't think it looks amazing.
No, I want to like it way more. I mean,
Right.
breast cancer awareness, who doesn't like it? Throw
Mhm.
some pink on it. It should look better, but it just doesn't.
Yeah.
C max.
Okay. You want to go see?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I think we have our first S tier helmet here. We have a first iteration of basically the patriotic Ball State football helmets that we've seen evolve over the years. White helmet. It's got the Ball State logo in the red, white, and blue, like chrome. This one has a stripe on it as well, but this is a cool looking stripe. I have one of those right back there, actually. Here, I'll go grab it for you.
Yeah, this is definitely S tier. Yeah, it's cold.
I think it's sweet. I think it's our
I
first
would
S tier.
definitely. I'm with you. I would even like to see that come back a little bit. I don't normally like that Cardinal logo as much as Dance and Charlie, not nearly as close, but
Mhm.
that was a sweet look. A lot of these if you would have told us, when you're designing it, oh, we're gonna do a camo one, oh, we're gonna do a breast cancer pink one. I'm like, yeah, that sounds good, but they didn't execute it. That
Mhm.
one was executed perfectly.
Yeah, I think that one's sweet. So yeah, I think that's our first S tier, and we'll see. There'll probably be some more patriotic ones in the S tier, and maybe we'll have to whittle it down a little bit. But yeah, that one I think is sweet. I was looking for that helmet forever, and I just so happened to find it on eBay. Funny enough, our guy Sidelines Ball State, if you're listening to this, I remember specifically getting that, and me and him, inadvertently go after the same stuff on eBay all the time. He was like out of the country on vacation when that thing popped up. So I think he just missed it, and I was able to get in there and swoop it up. So appreciate the vacation on that one, Sidelines. But all right, I think I got another. We can kind of do a couple here at the same time if you want. I'm just going to categorize the black helmet with the white face mask. I don't like at all. What are your thoughts on black helmet, white face mask? Because we got a couple of them. One of them's definitely a D in my opinion, but we'll start with this one.
Yeah, so the one that's first up,
Hmm.
I'm not really feeling that. And then the one that's what is it, three after?
Yeah, this one where my
That
mouse is. I think it's the worst one we
yeah,
have.
yeah, it might be. It's definitely D tier.
Because it has that
Um,
big oversized cardinal head on it, and it had the Ball State script on the side. I don't like. I'm throwing this one in D for sure. If there was lower than D, I would throw it in there.
yeah.
This one I don't think is as bad because it doesn't have like the crazy oversized one, but I don't really care for it either. I'll let you kind of decide where we want to put this one.
Let's put that in C.
See, okay, we'll see that one. Okay. All right, so the one we just did, now this one black with red. Again, I don't love it. I don't think it's like the best looking helmet of all time, but I don't hate it. Um, where are you kind of leaning on this one?
I'll go C again. It's not
See,
great.
see on that. Okay. All right, we got another patriotic one. Now this one is pretty much the same as the one we have in S, but it has a red face mask. I think the white looks 1,000 times better than the red face mask in this scenario, but I still think it looks pretty good.
Yeah, it still does. I'll say A.
You like
A
A
on
on
that.
that one? Okay, we'll A that one up. Okay, we got a couple red helmets. Now I love the red helmet, and I feel like I may be missing a couple of them in here, but I love the red. Yeah, I think I'm missing a couple. I love the red helmets. Um, my favorite one, and apologies, I'm missing it. My favorite one was actually the red with the red face mask, but it doesn't look like I have a picture of that on here. But this one right here, red with the black face mask, I still think it looks good. This one says Ball State on the side, which I know neither you or I love, but there is a cardinal head on the other side. Red helmets, just in general. What are you feeling on the red helmets?
Yeah, I like the red. I like the red a lot. And actually, I don't normally like that font for just
Hmm.
that just says Ball State, but it
Yeah.
looks a lot better in with red and white lettering than
Hmm.
it does on a black helmet with white lettering. So I'd actually be okay with putting that in B tier.
B tier. Okay. Well, B tier. I would have fought to put it higher if I had the picture of the red with the red face mask. I like red with red a lot, but I don't have it on there, so I'm good with B. Uh, all right, we got another patriotic one, but on a red helmet. I think this one's a miss.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't look quite as good.
Hmm.
Um, I would put it lower than I maybe B or C.
Okay.
I'm open to either.
Um, I don't know. I just think it's significantly worse than the other two. I think C. I think we'll put it in C. I like it that it's on a red helmet. I like that they're trying different things, but it just doesn't pop as well as it does on the white one. Here's another one with a big oversized cardinal. I don't those all stink in my opinion.
Yeah, I'll put that in D.
Yeah, I think the oversized cardinal. Again, I appreciate, them trying different things at the time, but it's a miss. Miss for me.
And John, I just want to say real quick, we're going through all of these helmets. I think it's extremely lazy, and it should be noted that EA College Football 25 just had an oversized Cardinal and then the just regular size old Cardinal. No dancing Charlie, no
Oh,
dancing
really?
Charlie with the flag, no patriotic old Cardinal, anything like that. I thought it was extremely lazy. Look at all these helmet options we have and they just gave us the bare minimum. They didn't even give us a helmet, the helmet that we wore all year. We couldn't even pick it.
Hmm.
So that That just came to me right now, and that's just it's ridiculous. We got all these helmet options, and they gave us two of the ones we're not using anymore.
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't realize that. Also, sorry if anyone watching the video. When I'm doing this, I'm on a different tab, so I didn't realize that the S tier was blocked for a while. So, if for some reason you haven't seen what I put in the S tier, we just have that one that I put on the camera. But okay, we got a handful left here. We got an all white one with just a regular cardinal head. Nothing too crazy, not too inspiring on that one, but it's not terrible. So I'm fine in B or C tier. What about you?
Yeah, B seems about right.
Okay, yeah. Again, nothing amazing. Just seems like a pretty standard. Turn on TV and see Ball State football. Okay, so what do we have here? We got an all black one. Let me see when this all black one is from. This has to be more of a recent one. This all black one is from 2020, 2021. There were a bunch, it looks like. I don't know what was on the other side. I think, the Dancing Charlie's on the other side. Okay. So that kind of brings it up a little bit more. So this is just like a traditional black helmet. Later on, we'll see at the end of this list, we have some matte helmets. We have some other ones that kind of had like some red speckles kind of in it, but this is more traditional black flat helmet, black face mask, and the Dancing Charlie on one side and Ball State script on the other one. What do you think about this one?
I kind of like it. I'll go maybe B, or I mean, if we put a red helmet with white Ball State lettering on there with no Dancing Charlie, I think this should be a B, just for the inclusion of Dancing Charlie on it. Even though I don't like the black background with the white Ball State font.
Okay. B. I'm good with B. All right. So I think what's different about this one right here is I think it's the same basically as the one in S, but the difference, it doesn't have a stripe on there, which I think is a miss. I think that stripe is pretty sweet. It's a really detailed stripe on that S tier one. It's got stars down the middle, blue, red outline. I think this has to be a B. I guess you could probably put an A because I still think it looks sweet, but it's just not as good as the one with the stripe on it.
Yeah, let's do B.
B. Okay. B. All right. So this one looks like it's our first one that we have with Dancing Charlie on it. It's just the traditional black one that we've grown to love. Black Dancing Charlie helmet. What do you got?
I'm gonna go S tier.
S tier. Okay. Yeah, I won't fight you on S tier too much. Now, I don't know if it'll stay in S tier, but we'll throw it in S for now. I'm with you on it because this is the one I think that has like that red kind of shimmer in it, which I think is pretty sweet. So that's obviously a little bit more of a custom paint job than just a traditional black helmet that you're going to get kind of off the rack. So I like that one. Again, that obviously had a little bit more work that went into it. Then we got the all white Dancing Charlie. All white Dancing Charlie. I know you're a big fan. What do we got here?
Maybe S or A.
Okay. I mean, we need 4 in the S, so we'll throw it up there for now, for sure. Let's see this one. Is there something different about this? This just kind of looks like. Oh, I know. I think I know what this one. This one is basically the traditional helmet we saw forever, but doesn't have those speed stripes on it. So a very minor difference. We have that one in the B tier. I feel like we put it in B or C tier. This one doesn't have a stripe. This one down here at the bottom, we have in the D tier has a stripe on it. So this is basically they've improved on that one, but just didn't have those stripes on it. So, I think it would need to be a C, but I'm open to discourse here.
Yeah, C sounds about right.
Okay, C. We'll go with C on this one. All right, now we're getting into some heavy hitters. We got Dancing Charlie with the American flag.
This is the number one. This is the number one helmet that we have. Period.
This is your number one helmet we have. Period.
This is my number one. This is my number one. Dancing Charlie holding the flag, actually in black, is my number one. But this is in white.
Right.
I think S tier.
Yeah, we'll get to this one, but yeah, I'm with you on S tier on this one. So yeah, the rest of these are all for the most part Dancing Charlies that we got left. Let's I think we're in agreement that this black one with the red stripe is S tier as well. I think this is the number. I think this is the number one helmet that they
That's the number one helmet right there.
I think this one is. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Okay, so we got a couple other ones. Let's see here. This is Dancing Charlie, like we have up here with the all white, but this one has a black face mask. We'll just go ahead and do this one now. I think I like the white face mask better than the black one.
Agreed.
I think we just throw this an A. All right, we got 2 left. We got a black Dancing Charlie. So basically, this helmet right here, because it's like that matte finish, but it just doesn't have the American flag. So obviously, I don't think it's as good as the one with the American flag.
Maybe A.
Yeah, I can see that. And then last one we have the traditional helmet, but it has a red face mask with it. I actually kind of like this one.
I like that too. I
I'm
like that
thinking
too.
this. I'm thinking this would be an A tier as well
Agreed.
because it has a stripe, has a red face mask. I like it. So there we go. Only issue we have here is we need to get rid of one of these S tier ones, and I think we have an easy solution. I think we would knock out those all white Dancing Charlie without the American flag.
Yeah, that's a good call.
You think so?
I think so.
That's where we're at. Okay, I like it. This is
John,
the first
what's your favorite of those 4?
This is the first time in history this has been done. We just created history here on Ball State of the Union tonight. My favorite one of these. Let's see. Oh man, it's tough. I'll give you my top 2. This one right here. This one that we wore, I believe it was on election night this year against Miami of Ohio. The all black kind of matte with the red stripe, Charlie Cardinal with the American flag. And then this one over here, the kind of the first patriotic one we had with the cool red, white, and blue stripe down the middle. Those I think are my top 2 favorite. What about you?
I think I agree. I think the all black with the Dancing Charlie holding the flag is my number 1. And then I like the helmet that you own, but I'll take Dancing Charlie holding the flag just in general. I
Okay.
also want to see us do the throwback helmet with the old Arizona Cardinal headpiece. I think
Yep.
that'd be sick. But I think this kind of shows in general, we should be doing a lot more with the helmets because it's really just a variation of either the Dancing Charlie or the classic with, a different color of the original or just with, Dancing Charlie holding a flag. So if we could get a little bit more experimentation, the kids want to be fresh, they want to look good, they want to come to a school where they can feel like they're sauced out. I want us just to improve the helmets in general. And if you guys need ideas, hit us up because we've got ideas.
There we go. You heard it. If anyone's listening out there and you want some ideas, we got you covered. So again, we're going to put this out. We're going to put this top 4 helmets out. You all vote which one you think is the best, and that'll be the definitive. No arguments out there in the world can be made. Definitive number 1 Ball State football helmet of all time. And I'm also going to put out this tier list. So if anyone wants to make one themselves and do it and send it to us, you can do that as well. So, Colin, I think that's all we got for tonight.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. We love sharing news on Ball State. There's been a lot going on. It's kind of hard. We're in flux right now. It's crazy to see what this team's going to be soon, but I'm super excited for next year. I'm hoping for a bowl game. Chirp, chirp, baby. Go Ball State.
Here we go. Again, if you can hear my voice, subscribe, YouTube channel, like it, leave a comment on Spotify, follow the Spotify page, leave a 5-star review. All of it helps. It can all get everything out to all the Ball State fans, not only in the United States, but worldwide. So from Colin and I, chirp, chirp, and we'll be back with you guys next week.